My name is Brianna Morris-Brock, and I am the Director of Children, Youth, and Family Ministries at Triumphant Love Lutheran Church.
My name is Andrew Hansen. I worked 6 years at Camp Hope, and now I'm a project lead engineer.
I'm a music teacher in Pasadena ISD, and I teach elementary age children from kindergarten through 4th grade.
Today, I am the manager of quantitative analytics for Champion Energy Services. What I do for Champion is to build mathematical models to do anything from predicting how much energy our customers are going to need to use any time in the future to figuring out how much that energy is going to cost, so how much we need to be selling the energy for. Being a staff member at Camp Hope may not involve a lot of mathematical models, but what it does do is it gives you a lot of preparation, specifically with interview skills and communication skills. So I know for a lot of staff members, the interview that they have for Camp Hope is the first interview they've ever had in their lives.
It allowed me to grow in my leadership skills and leadership abilities in ways that even outside of even within the youth group wasn't normally afforded.
Camp Hope was this place where I sort of felt like I found my stride as what it meant to be a leader and like what I was capable of. I was probably a little too passive with what I wanted to do or what I thought I could do until I started working at camp.
After being a support staff at Camp Hope, I learned a little bit about just what it takes to be a leader. As far as, my actions need to match my words, just how everything I do is received by the people around me. Camp Hope taught me a lot about the concept servant leadership.
I guess as I was growing up, I never really thought of myself as a leader type person. I'm more introverted than I am extroverted. But then, Camp Hope was something I really wanted to do and it was something I wanted to try.
One of the major ways I see that Camp Hope affected me was I'm normally a pretty shy type person, and as a small group leader, as a support staff member, it really pushed me out of my comfort zone in that respect and caused me to be more bold and step out of my comfort zone.
There's a lot of people involved in Camp Hope, and you learn how to relate with the other people, you learn how to relate with the campers. And that's applicable in any line of business that you do for the rest of your life.
Well, the funny thing is, although last year was my first year as a teacher and I taught elementary music, I went to college to be a band director. Thankfully, it was the same degree, but I'd spent all those years preparing myself to teach middle school and high school. So I student taught at a middle school and a high school. And although both of those were amazing experiences, it did not really prepare me to teach elementary kids. Thankfully for me, Camp Hope helped me out so much. All those years of learning how to interact with children, learning what their wants and needs are, learning just how to get through to them and how to teach them gave me a lot of experience that I otherwise would have been completely lacking.
I'm much better about working with coworkers, working with customers, understanding where they're coming from and being able to articulate from an engineer's perspective in a way that they will understand.
For me personally, I guess my faith kind of came alive at Camp Hope staff training. I actually remember that no one had really talked about Bible in context or scripture in context or what it might mean, and like that context for me personally just made everything seem way more relevant. Like scripture was a living document instead of a history book all of a sudden. So that for me maybe enriched and deepened what would have been probably a more passive faith life.
I was not a Christian before I did Camp Hope. It was at the recommendation of a friend that I started going with to church that I should try Camp Hope out, and I was kind of hesitant at first. It was a lot of fun. And that's how I viewed it. It was a lot of fun, but it's in the summer. I don't know if I want to do it again. I gave it another try the next year, and it exceeded my best expectations. I really learned so much about God and the work that He's doing every day. Because I know that it's often talked about that we're teaching the campers the Bible story, but in that case, I was learning a lot of the Bible stories too from Camp Hope, and just learning a little bit of how God touches the world through all the Bible stories. That was really integral to my growing in faith.
It helped me be a part of a community with the rest of the staff members, the rest of the support staff, faith community, and that was really a unique and special experience because not only was I articulating my faith, but I was surrounded by people doing the same thing. And so, in a way, we shared in fellowship that experience together.
I think the things that I learned at Camp Hope would have benefited me in any place, at any time, and that ministerial leadership is not necessarily the only form of leadership that comes out. You know, I had a student who worked in the kitchen for 4 years and then went on to culinary school. You know, I had a kid who worked as the 5-year-old teacher for 3 years and ended up being a kindergarten teacher. You know, like the little gifts were discovered along the way for my students, and that I know that I had that experience. I happen to also have a call to ministry, but that the leadership and the skills that are learned here and how to work in a team and responsibility and all that kind of stuff it bleeds into absolutely everything, I think.
It's incredible to me to see this kind of full spectrum where you have people who were campers now are leading, now are mentoring the next generation, and knowing how it's affected me and how it's affected other people, it's really cool to see how that's kind of being carried on.
If I could design a t-shirt, it would say, "Everything I know about being a leader, I learned from Camp Hope."